Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Whitney and I am a licensed clinical professional counselor. With it being Suicide Prevention Month, I wanted to come on here just to talk about the signs, the warning signs, the behaviors, what to look for, when to know when someone's struggling with it. Because if you know or if you don't know, most people will not tell you whether they are struggling with suicidal ideation. Some people may put out warning signs on social media, might make a post about something in alignment with, I can't do this anymore, or just when you see things like that, it is a cry for help. And that is something that we should be taking seriously. However, I want to talk about the things that people may not say, the things that are not communicated, and I want us to be aware of what that looks like so that we can try to be a support to those surrounding us who may be struggling with suicidal ideation. As I stated, I'm a licensed clinical professional counselor. I've been in the mental health field for about 7 years now. I am educated in counseling. I have the license behind my name to show that, and I have some experience. I don't claim to know everything, but the things that I do know, I want people to also have access to that knowledge, because knowledge is power. When we know better, we do better. So I want to talk to you about the warning signs of suicidal ideation. I want to take a moment to think about those who are no longer here, who may have committed suicide. And I know that is a really hard thing to digest, and thinking about someone feeling so low that they would take their own life. I cannot even imagine what that looks like, what that feels like, because I've never had anyone close to me do that I know of. But I just want to take the time to just acknowledge the ones who may no longer be here. So let's get right into it. This is Suicide Prevention Month, and I thought this was the perfect time to do this. I'm not going to have a super long video, and this is not going to go in super detail because I don't really have a lot of time. I know everybody's attention span is small these days, but I just want to just share a little bit. And I found this website with this information that I thought was helpful, just to give you a foundation of the basics of what this might look like for someone, for even you. Bring awareness to yourself and be knowledgeable about what it looks like so that you can be a support to someone who may be struggling with that. So common warning signs, I will talk about the common warning signs, and then I'll talk about changes in behavior or mood. So warning signs, there are like 5 of them. The first one is feeling unbearable pain. So if you have someone in your family or in your surrounding who's always talking about being in pain, that pain can encompass physical pain, or it can just be like an emotional pain, a death or a recent fascination with death, where people are always talking about death, having a curiosity about it. If someone in their life passed away and now they're just really harping on this thing of death and what it looks like and what it might feel like, you know, things like that. That's another common warning sign. Another one is feeling hopeless, worthless, or trapped, feeling like you can't get out of this funk. There's no joy, there's no happiness, nothing will ever go right. You know, someone may communicate that, like, nothing ever goes right in my life. I don't know what to do. I don't know when this dark place is gonna lift. You know, just a continual expression of hopelessness and feeling like they are a burden to others. You know, they don't want to put they don't want to put their stuff on other people. They don't want to be a burden to somebody. I don't want to be a burden to you. You know, I'm always in need of help. I'm always in need of assistance, and I don't want to put that on you. Those are a few warning signs. And I'll just say that there are more of these, but this is just a few just to shed some light. For me personally, I think another warning sign could be just when you see someone isolating themselves. You know, they're not spending as much time with people that they love, and that's also a behavior, but that can also be a warning sign as well. Like, why is this person always in their room with the lights off and they're not going anywhere, they're not doing anything, the shades are closed, you know, Isolation is another warning sign as well. Another thing I would like to say, and again, this could be a behavior, but you see someone doing things and they don't think about the consequences. You know, they don't care what happens to them. That could also be another warning sign. It could be dangerous, but they're doing it because they don't care. The value that they have in their life, they don't have it anymore. So they don't care what the consequences are. So that's another thing to look out for. Changes in behavior or mood, a recent suicide attempt. In therapy, we assess people who may struggle with suicidal ideation. We look for the intent, an intent to do it, an attempt, and also a plan. You know, those are the three things that we look at. If someone tried to hurt themselves, it could be they walked into incoming traffic, they went to a train station and stood on the train tracks, you know, things that could cause them death. They're doing this purposefully. And increased alcohol or drug use, you know, numbing the pain. And this can also be in the form of pills. If they have pills and they're overdosing on pills, or they're going to the store and buying a whole bunch of pills, they got all these bottles and they're taking it. That's another change in behavior or mood. Losing interest in personal appearance or hygiene, not taking a shower, not really caring what they look like, not caring what they smell like. They just don't care. Withdrawing from family, friends, or community, which I talked about before. Saying goodbyes to friends and family. That could be in the form of a letter. Nowadays, a lot of this generation, they're putting their goodbyes on social media. So just saying things like, I'm so glad you were here for me. I don't know what I would have done without you. I appreciate you. And especially when these comments are just unwarranted, you know, that's a concern. Giving away prized possessions, things that you know they love, they're giving it away. It could be a pet, it could be a family heirloom, something that just so precious to them, and they're starting to give things away. That's another sign. Changes in eating and or sleeping patterns. Eating too much, eating too little. Sleeping too much, sleeping too little. Becoming violent or being a victim of violence. Again, as I talked about before, not caring what the consequences are. Just doing things because they don't have a care or a value of their life anymore. It is not our job to cure those who are struggling with this. And I know a lot of times when we care for people, we want to be the person to prevent this from happening. But we cannot cure a mental health disorder. We cannot cure a mental health disease. We cannot cure, we can only support and educate. We cannot do anything and pray. We can pray to the Lord, ask God to intervene and do all of these things. We can pray and fast. We can do all of those things. But we ourselves cannot prevent someone from doing that. But our presence can help. Our prayers can help. Our education can help. Our awareness can help. And that is why I'm talking about this today. And I've heard of even this year a few suicides, and it's just heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking to see and hear about things like this, because our lives are so precious. They're so purposeful. And when someone gets to that point to where they want to end their life, it's just tragic. It is so tragic. So I want us to be educated. When to seek out help. If you know anyone who has said any of these things, I don't care if it's one, check in with them. Say, hey, I noticed that you said this. Can you tell me, you know, what that was about? You know, do you need any assistance with anything? Can I, you know, try and research some therapists for you? And even if it's not any, it could be nothing, but it's better to check in with people. And again, we're not in control of that, but if we see it, we gotta show up. If you see something or you hear something that is concerning, just check in. Sometimes all somebody needs is just someone to actually care. Sometimes people in life, they don't have anybody who cares for them. They don't have anybody to check in with them. And if you could be that one person that just says, you know what, I'm thinking about you and I'm praying about you. Your life means so much more to you than you think. You know, there's so much purpose in you. I love you. I want to take you to lunch one day. I want to give you this card. Something small can shift the trajectory of somebody's life. And we have to use discernment. We got to ask God to show us. And I'm asking God to show us, the people of God, show more of us, you know, when someone is struggling with that, so that we can do what we can to support them and help them. So I hope this video was helpful for you, just educate you a little bit more on what to look for. And sometimes we can be so engulfed in our own stuff that we can't see others, and we have to kind of get out of that. We need help too, but some other people do as well. So even when you have a good day, you know, check on somebody else. And I know even if you have a bad day, you don't have to do too much. Just be like, hey, I'm thinking about you. I just want us to be more aware of this, and more receptive to learning about it, so that we can be a support to those around us. Thank you for stopping by, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.